It's not very often I get excited for pulse rifles, as everyone knows. After being in a hard no-time meta for as long as we were, I'd be lying if I said I hadn't largely lost interest in them. But I have something of a soft spot for rapid-fire frames. In the world of dad rifles, they're a lot less dad and a lot more rifle. Not that that makes much sense. Now previously, if you'd asked me to name the best rapid-fire pulse rifle for the kinetic slot, I probably would have said Peace of Mind even after its nerf last year. But I think that may have changed with the Autumn Wind. Autumn Wind is a kinetic 540 round per minute rapid-fire pulse rifle from the Crucible. You will be able to focus these next season at Shacks, but currently they only drop at the end of Crucible matches or from turning in engrams at Shacks for random rewards. This is a really interesting weapon for a few reasons. To start, like our other weapons found from playlists such as Gambit, the Vanguard, and Crucible, it has a massive perk pool, and this is a double-edged sword. The upside is that there's a role for just about every playstyle and every purpose, both for PvP and for PvE. The other upside is that the playlist weapons are readily available to both free-to-play players as well as people who might be too new to the game to take advantage of endgame content. The disadvantage is that the perk pool is so huge that actually getting the role you want is going to be difficult to say the least, and later on in the video I'm going to tell you how I'd recommend getting this weapon if you really want one. First, let's take a look at the perks. I'm going to split these up based on what I would go with for PvP and PvE, starting with barrel perks for PvP. Arrowhead Break, Chambered Compensator, Small Bore, Extended Barrel, Full Bore, Hammer Forged Rifling, or Polygonal Rifling. What you pick will depend on if you want more range or more stability and better recoil control. For range, Full Bore or Hammer Forged. For stability and recoil control, Arrowhead Break, Chambered Compensator, and Polygonal Rifling. Small Bore and Extended Barrel offer a nice middle ground if that's what you'd prefer. So far, my favorite is Full Bore because I wanted range. However, a high stability roll isn't a bad thing either, particularly if you're on controller. I'm on M&K, so recoil control isn't as big of a deal to me. Recoil control is much easier on a mouse and keyboard than on a controller. For magazine perks, easily ricochet rounds or high caliber rounds. We all know why at this point. Ricochet rounds boost your stability by 10 and range by 5. High caliber increases your range by 5 and also increases the amount of flinch inflicted on an opponent. My go-to roll has both. Thus far I prefer ricochet rounds, but high caliber works well also. Next up, in the third column, Rangefinder, Heating Up, Killing Wind, Perpetual Motion, Tunnel Vision, and Perfect Float. Some more niche perks might be Pugilist if you're using a melee build, or Offhand Strike if you want to have some crazy hipfire accuracy after a kill. In the fourth column, Head Seeker, Moving Target, or Ellie Cap would be my personal choices. That being said, Swashbuckler is there for melee builds. Frenzy is something of a sleeper perk. It takes some getting used to and has a bit of a learning curve, but it's not a bad perk at all. If you stay in combat for 12 seconds, you get a boost to damage, handling, and reload speed, and it will stay active as long as you stay in combat for 5 seconds, which means either dealing or receiving damage before that 5-second timer runs out. A bit of a learning curve, but useful if you can get the hang of it. Multi-Kill Clip and Rampage are also options for damage perks. I prefer Kill Clip to be sure, but these are still options, with Rampage being the slightly superior option. These perks can offer a higher damage boost than Kill Clip, but are stacking and require multiple kills to get the maximum benefit, which may be difficult in PvP, as opposed to Kill Clip, which just gives a flat 25% buff if you reload after a kill. Harmony is good if you switch weapons a lot, get a kill with another weapon, swap back to Autumn Wind for a damage boost. Now let me show you the roll I've been using. This is a max range god roll and potentially a 5 out of 5. Full Bore, both ricochet and high caliber rounds, Rangefinder, and Moving Target with a range masterwork. I would have preferred Head Seeker in the last column, but Moving Target is still an extremely good perk, and I'm a huge fan of it, mainly because it increases your strafe speed and aim assist when aiming down your sights, which is for sure helpful in duels, so I'm still more than happy with this one. Like I said before, this is a weapon with multiple god rolls, and this is one of them, for now. Don't worry, I'm getting to that. Now as far as roles go, this is the role I would want with either moving target or head seeker in the 4th column. If we're talking maximum range, hammer forged rifling would be a good substitute for full bore as well. If you're on controller, or just someone who prefers having higher stability or recoil direction in general, then you may want a different barrel perk and or masterwork. For mag perks, I would still take ricochet rounds. In the 3rd column, rangefinder is still the best perk currently, but if you want to really bump that stability up, then perpetual motion will give you a bump to your stability for just moving around, and heating up will boost stability after a kill. In the 4th column, head seeker and moving target would still be my top choices, but you could go with Ellie Cap on a void subclass for a massive stability boost. Now let me explain why I say my role is a god role for now. Bungie has said in the future they want to separate zoom from how much reach a weapon actually has. What this means is that whenever this happens, unless rangefinder gets a rework of some sort, then it will only provide an increase in zoom, it will not actually affect how much range a weapon actually has. Now of course it's possible that rangefinder may get a rework or get special treatment here, as Bungie has to know that having rangefinder only provide a zoom bonus would kill the perk. But until they say so, you may want to consider another option here, and thankfully there are plenty of good ones. So if you get a good roll that doesn't have rangefinder, it may still worth be keeping. I'm not saying to dismantle your rangefinder rolls either, because we don't know what rangefinder's fate will be, but keep other options in that 3rd column in mind too. This is why I tell people to pay attention to TWABs and blogs from Bungie. It's a good idea to keep the future in mind when you're grinding for rolls. So again, there's a ton of options here. Maybe you want a very consistent roll, something that will help you in every gunfight you get into, something that will be useful regardless of the game mode. Rangefinder or perpetual motion with head seeker or moving target. Maybe you want something with high lethality for slaying out in 6s, or if you're a very aggressive player in 3v3 modes. In the 3rd column, both rangefinder and perpetual motion would be good choices, but you could also go with killing wind or heating up. Then in the 4th column, go with rampage or frenzy or head seeker. Using a melee build, go with pugilist and swashbuckler. High range, there's a role for that. High stability, there's roles for that too. Point being, this is a very versatile weapon. Now let's talk PvE. Generally in PvE, I'm not as concerned with barrel and mag perks. But I'd probably go for higher range, so full bore or hammer forged. For mag perks, high caliber rounds, armor piercing rounds, or anything that will increase my mag size or make my reload speed faster. In the 3rd column, demolitionist, pugilist, envious assassin. For that matter, even in PvE, perpetual motion is still a decent perk, killing wind isn't bad either. In the 4th column, swashbuckler, frenzy, adrenaline junkie, multi-kill clip, thresh, rampage, and harmony. You could potentially go with Vorpal, but honestly, I don't think most of us are really hammering on bosses with primary weapons unless we've completely run out of ammo on other weapons. Focused Fury is there as well, but I'm generally not a fan of it, at least on primary weapons. But it's still an option. If you go with Focus Fury, I'd combine it with a high stability and recoil direction roll just to make landing those crits easier. So once again, we have a very versatile weapon. Maybe you want something for ad clear, go with Envious Assassin and Frenzy or Harmony. Kill a few ads with your special weapon, overload the mag on Autumn Wind with Envious Assassin, then pull it out and start slaying with the damage boost from Harmony or Frenzy. Maybe Perpetual Motion or Killing Wind along with Multi-Kill Clip or Rampage. Get a few kills, then reload to proc Killing Wind and or Multi-Kill Clip and go to Pound Town. Maybe you're rocking a melee build, combine Pugilist and Swashbuckler. Pugilist will give you melee energy from getting kills with the weapon, Swashbuckler will give you a slight damage boost after a kill with Autumn Wind and a higher damage boost if you get a melee kill after that. So get a kill with Autumn Wind, then your melee to boost the weapon's damage, then slay out with the weapon and let Pugilist refill that melee energy. Grenade build? No problem. Combine Demolitionist with Adrenaline Junkie. Kills from Autumn Wind will generate grenade energy with Demolitionist, and Adrenaline Junkie will boost the weapon's damage after grenade kills. So get a kill or kills with a grenade, pull out Autumn Wind, and let the damage boost and Demolitionist refill that grenade energy. Have a build based around your super? Thresh might be the play. There are a ton of options here, and with the recent buff for PvE for pulse rifles, they're feeling better than ever, and this weapon is no exception. Now let's talk about the best way to get this weapon, and this may be a turnoff for you PvE mains out there, but just hear me out. Obviously, this is a Crucible weapon. You will have to play Crucible to get it. This probably isn't very exciting for you PvE mains, but with the utility this weapon offers, it's still going to be worth it. The main issue is that you will not be able to focus this weapon until next season, so while PvP mains are still going to get drops regardless, it might be worth waiting until next season for you PvE mains. The reason is because after you reset your rank with Shaxx, Crucible weapons can roll with extra perks. If you reset multiple times, you have a chance for a higher number of extra perks. So save your engrams at Shaxx, reset your rank a couple of times. This will depend on how much PvP you want to play, looking at my PvE mains here. The more you reset, the better chances you'll have of getting those extra perks. 4 resets will get you to the maximum number of extra perks you can have. So at least reset as many times as you can and save your engrams. After you've reset the maximum number of times, or looking at my PvE mains here, until you're sick of PvP, go and focus your engrams at Shaxx. Getting the exact roll you want will still be difficult just due to how many perks are available on this weapon, but the more resets you have, the better your chances will be. Now the other thing I want to mention is I'm not going to waste your time and try to convince you that this thing is better than No Time or other high-impact pulse rifles, at least in PvP, because it's not. Again, talking about PvP here, No Time is still easily the best pulse rifle in the game, with close seconds being the Messenger, which is returning next season, or Phylotactic Spiral in the energy slot. But this pulse is still perfectly viable, very strong, and very fun, so take it for a spin. So that's Autumn Wind. It's a very versatile weapon that can be very potent in both PvP and PvE. Yes, getting that god roll is a pain due to the size of the perk pool, but there's a ton of potential here regardless of if you're a PvP main or a PvE main, so grind it out, it's worth your time. But that's all for me on the Autumn Wind. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to leave me a like, and please subscribe with the bell icon. We're only 14 subs away from 400 subscribers, and we're getting ever closer to that 500 subscriber mark. I want to do something special for 500, but haven't decided what yet, so leave me some suggestions as well. Also, as a couple of side notes, first off, one of our newest subs is none other than the Horde Father himself, Cammy Cakes. So Cammy, if you see this, I hope you don't mind me bringing this up, but it would feel weird not to. I have no clue what I've done right to earn your sub, but thank you so much for subscribing. I've been watching you for years now, and it really does mean the world to me. And if anyone here is watching me and somehow hasn't heard of Cammy Cakes, go and check out his channel. He puts out incredible and extremely interesting and informative content, link in the description. And second off, if anyone watching this has any suggestions for weapon reviews or really anything you might want to see from me, feel free to let me know in the comments. We're at that point now in the season where things are getting a little bit dry, and we still have a few weeks to go until season 21, so feel free to leave me suggestions. For now, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace, Guardians.